So I am Zenko, a half-orc, half-dragonborn shaman, or nature cleric, because D&D doesn't seem to have shamans.
No official releases.
No official. Yeah, I must have been thinking in World of Warcraft terms, because that's what I'm used to. Okay, so Zenko grew up raised by her mother in kind of an offshoot area. She set up a home and a medicinal clinic to help others and to make a living away from the tribe that she left due to ostracization because she had a half-breed. Her tribe doesn't appreciate other races. Zenko is 22 years old, and she's 6'2", weighs 222 pounds, because I like alliteration and numbers, apparently. And she's really optimistic for some reason. She just sees the best in everything. One of the things that was instilled in her growing up, her regular hair is like this flaming red, and it's kind of shaved close to her head. But then the rest of her hair area is these copper dragon tendrils. They have these like golden-ish clasps or bone clasps around each tendril for ornamentation. She's kind of pretty for a half-orc, half-dragonborn. I've got a drawing I'm working on. I'll put it online eventually.
Just confirm, you are playing a copper half-dragonborn.
Yes.
On your Dragonborn side? Okay.
Yes, on the Dragonborn side, she is copper.
And so you've been living outside of a small town.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of a small town called Inthra, you know it to be a town of about 150 people or so. It's not a big town, but it is along the main river going through this portion of the country called the Burning Rush. And your mom set up a clinic kind of more on the outskirts of the town.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have a pretty good relationship with the townspeople. And then where y'all live it's a cave, but it's definitely set up to be a home.
Yeah,
it's not uncomfortable. Yeah, it's not uncomfortable. But what has driven you to move away from home, essentially, to go off adventuring, to seek your own destiny, so to speak?
Well, my mother, Menzo, has taught me all that she can personally, and the rest I have to learn through my trials in nature. And the spirits basically have to teach me at this point. I have to connect with the elements in nature.
Right.
With the rocks and the trees, dude.
The unicorn moon and...
The unicorn moon. And the blue coyote.
Exactly. All right, so this is the day you're leaving. Your mother has told you about where she did one of her trials to connect with nature. A little over a week foot travel from where she set up home now.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like a good time of year. It's just beginning to middle of what we would equate to fall.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a harvest festival going on in what she knows is the only real portion of civilization near that trial. So she has recommended to you, it might be a good idea to ask questions around there if you want to go off on this mission finally.
Of course.
So waking up on the day of your departure, what would you like to do?
Oh, I have to pee. First things first. She gets up. She knows what she has to do. She starts to pack her travel pack with all of her essentials, both ceremonial and survival.
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking her mother for any last-minute advice and also checking up on her because she's pregnant.
Correct. All right. Menzo is in the kitchen, kind of like a lot of mothers do. Like, she's just seems to be over-preparing for your departure a little bit. You can already see 2 bundles of food essentially already packed away, and she's still hovering over the stove. And Do you have an idea, I guess, of what her voice sounds like? I mean, she is an orc. It's probably going to be a little more gruff.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a lower tone, a huskier tone, which works for you.
Okay, and let's see if I can try and nail this voice down a little bit. Zenko, you've finally woken. Well, I've already got your food prepared. Well, most of your food prepared. And just one more batch. Oh, hold on 1 second. Oh. Okay, it stopped kicking. And, okay, it should just be about an hour more.
Mother, it's okay. You've prepared more than enough. I'm ready. Sit down for a minute. Let's have a talk.
Yes, dear. You see her, she kind of like takes a final glance at the food to make sure it's not going to burn if she walks away. Then goes and kind of sits at the, at y'all's table.
She sits down next to her, puts a hand on her belly, and kind of coos at whatever baby's in there, and takes her mother's hand, and she says, Mother, do you remember the first when you went and did this?
Like it were yesterday.
I know you can't tell me much, but what is one thing that you could say to prepare me for this trial?
That you can do this, my daughter.
Of course.
That's what stumbled me through so many of my efforts, was not a strong enough belief in myself. You can do this. You are Zenko.
You have taught me well, Mother. I believe we did well leaving the tribe.
I think it was for the best. I wouldn't have met Zachary if it weren't for that.
Yeah, he's a nice fellow.
Yes, I thought he said he would be here for this, but fool's gone off like he does, roaming around the woods.
Rangers. Maybe he's hunting?
I would assume so. I kind of gave him a tall order to make you some to-go rations, but...
Mother, I believe we have enough. The rest of the rations can be used to feed you guys.
If you insist, Zenko.
Yes.
I've taught you well, I hope.
Of course, more than I could ever have wished for.
I love you.
I love you too, Mother.
Don't go dying on me.
I'll try. I'll do my best. If it so happens that I do, you feel free to resurrect me and kick my ass.
You bet your ass I will. And so she'll kind of waddle over to the counter and pick up the 2 pouches she's already prepared for you and hand them over. One of them does, you can kind of see, or it seems like it's already starting to stain a little bit with liquids that she's prepared. She wants you to have this home-cooked meal, and probably not as prepared as the other pouch for the road, but it's probably still edible. It's just going to taste a little bit like pouch.
Thank you, Mother. It will be delicious.
I hope so. She kind of goes back to what she's doing and kind of almost waiting for you to shut the door. And she's staring over the meal, but she's not doing anything anymore.
Before she leaves, she walks over to her mother and gives her a kiss on the temple, puts her hand on her shoulder, and then turns and leaves.
And you just get one last moment right before you shut the door, and her shoulders just slump just a little bit.
Yeah, she's proud and scared, and she's hormonal.
Yeah.
Well, we have fire in us. Sometimes it comes out as water.
Yes, that was amazing.
Thank you.
So basically, the easiest way out towards Tristalin is to probably head towards Inthra and then follow the Burning Rush to the south.
Sounds good. Sounds like a scenic route.
You're probably about 30 to 45 minutes towards Inthra. You hear a whistle, and out of one of the nearby trees drops Zachary Flint, kind of like your stepdad, almost.
Well, look who dropped in.
Always a funny girl. Zenko, I know I'm not your dad, but I'm proud. You'll do well out there, girl.
Thank you, Zachary. I know you haven't been around long, but I do see you more as a father than I could ever have asked for. Thank you.
I appreciate that. I'll do what I can to protect Menzo and keep our family intact, as it were. And well, I just wanted you to have this on your way out. And he produces a hand-carved woodwind instrument, similar to a flute or a piccolo, but kind of gives off probably a little bit more of a bassier tone than those two. It's got kind of a bulbous portion in the middle.
Nice.
I don't know why, but the sounds this produces just reminds me of your adventures that you will have, and I hope it brings you peace on your travels.
I will cherish it always and play it until everyone's ears bleed.
That's my girl. And kind of pats you on the shoulder, and you see him. He's got a lot of woodland creatures kind of slung on to a big string of hooks. And he definitely knows this was a overkill in a literal. And, yeah. And he starts just very deliberately walking down the path back to your home. Continue walking. You approach Inthra. Your clinic is on the outskirts. Everybody in town's kind of aware your mother's pregnant, so she might not always be in. Mm-hmm. You were helping out a lot with that beforehand, but a lot of the townspeople also know that you're leaving. And as you begin to pass by the clinic, you were actually met by one of the townspeople. Mm-hmm. Kind of catches you. Oi, Zenko.
Yes, can I help you?
Oi, I was told to wait here until midday, but you've arrived. The Bazin family's looking for you.
Oh, of course, the Bazins. I'll see to them right away.
All right. And you know the Bazins are on the other side of the river.
In the basin?
Hey.
Yeah.
The daughter of the family, Dana, is unusually frail. Mm-hmm. Essentially, think of it like she has a particularly strong form of like asthma. Mm-hmm. But the family regularly comes to your mother's clinic to get a type of moss that's grown, like a medicinal moss called stone growth. Mm-hmm. And it kind of alleviates the cough and kind of makes Dana feel heartier, and she kind of functions more on a regular basis. So that's kind of they've been long-standing customers. They know you, you know them. Mm-hmm. Getting to their house, crossing the river does take a little bit of time, probably an additional 30 minutes out of your time if you'd like to go see them.
Of course.
As you approach their house, Mr. and Mrs. Bazin, and I guess as you knock on the door, they answer, "Oh, Zenko, it's so good you're here." And, the father welcomes you and says, "Oh, Zenko, it's good to see you." And the mother chimes back in, "Oh, Peter, shut up. We've got to ask her before she leaves. Zenko, can you take our son, Sev, and could you teach him how to gather the stone growth moss? In case your mother is, unavailable, we could gather it for ourselves."
Of course, I have a few moments. I don't mind. It's pretty simple, actually.
Just off on kind of leaning against one of the walls, you see Sev, who's Dana's older brother. He's probably about 16. You see him kind of like playing, like he's sharpening a knife, and he's got a short bow slung around his shoulder.
Ah, that'll come in handy in case we run across any goblins.
Well,
I can't set everything aflame.
Oh, you always were so pyromaniac. You always liked the bonfires we had here in town. No, I was just hoping, if the chance came about, I might get and be able to shoot my family some dinner, but,
we could do both.
Well, that's up to you, and as dinner happens to show up on the way. But we are headed to the graveyard, so you know that stone growth, it can grow on any worked stone, mm-hmm. which is kind of a peculiar quality of a moss, but it has to be undisturbed, which is why it's pretty common to find it on headstones, but not inside of like a town with any worked stone in it.
Right.
A little bit goes a long way, so you and your mom never really had to make like regular trips to the cemetery for Dana. Like it's just once a month you might have to go over there and scrape a little bit off of the base of one tombstone or something. Mm-hmm. And the graveyard's probably about 2 hours outside of town. It's a little bit of a jaunt, but nothing that's, going to derail you for days and days. And, they're not going to carry bodies for days and days.
Right.
So as you make your way further east, following the trail, you have 2 hours. Sev's there. He's kind of more interested in looking for dinner than he is to really be paying attention to his surroundings.
Right. I'm making sure, reminding him of the different landmarks that lead to the cemetery, just to make sure he doesn't get lost.
Oh, yeah. I don't really go out this way very often.
You might have to more than usual, just in case.
That's why I'm going. Gotta always protect Dana.
One day she may be less frail and, she might grow to be able to protect you one day. I know I say one day a lot, but
It's all right. I can't count higher than 4, so I'm used to ones. I don't know. I'm just playing him off like he's dumb, but kind of sparse out here. I don't think I'm going to catch anything.
Well, after we've collected some of this moss, I can show you a good spot. But I need you to pay attention, okay?
What? I suppose. So you make your way down. The land does get more sparse. Typically around the river, it's a little more lush, and the little offshoot portions of the river keep things a little bit greener. But this is, you're getting away from really seeing much. It is kind of a very kind of rocky terrain. And as you continue moving, currently you're about 15 minutes outside of the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a perception check.
Yes. Let me see. Ha! Nat 20.
Sev didn't do all that bad, but you spot it way before he does. And you notice just a very large, plump bird sitting on the branch of a lone tree. And, you choose what you'd like to do with it, but if Sev's wanting to shoot dinner, that might be it.
Hey, Sev, take a look at that. She whispers and calms him down, gets him quiet, and then shows him exactly where to aim.
Oh, I see it. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna name this bird D-I-N-N.
You got this.
Screw it, I'm gonna shoot it.
Kid.
Modified 14. And his arrow goes flying. The bird just barely starts to take off right as the arrow shoots by, and he manages to snipe it and take it down. So he is a happy camper. Oh, did you see that shot? Oh, they're going to call me a snipe shooter one day.
Very good, very good. Gather up your kill and let's get some moss.
And he runs over, he grabs the bird, and he starts he kind of tucks it towards his belt. He's just beaming now. He's so full of joy and pride. And y'all continue to make your way towards the graveyard. As you approach, give me another perception check.
Mm-hmm. That's a modified 9.
Oh. Well, Sev rolled a natural 20.
That works.
All right. As you start to approach one of the stone headstones, start looking and peering for the moss, and you hear what seems to be kind of normal noises, nothing unexpected. Mm-hmm. Maybe a little bit louder than normal, and then Sev just kind of goes, Hey, Zenko, what's that over there? And you look up, and you see it's at the far end of the graveyard, and there's a copse of trees, and you see 3 shapes that are kind of shambling around, moving further into the trees, and then you hear a very high-pitched shrill cry. Sounds very, I would say, animalistic.
Shit. Wait, what time of day is it?
It's about 1 PM.
Okay.
The shapes seem to be humanoid.
Let me see. What should I do? Thinking. Should we ignore it? Should we investigate? I'm going to instruct Sev to stand back, duck behind a gravestone, and be at ready and step closer to investigate.
All right. Sev will follow your directions, knocks an arrow, and you see him just peeking around, trying to see what's going on. As you kind of, move forward, you get about halfway through the graveyard, and you see it a little bit clearer. They're definitely human-shaped. You're not really sure what they're going after, but the shrieks tend to come and go. Mm-hmm. And then you finally hear just a very violent And like another shriek comes down, and that was something dying.
This isn't good. So my range for Sacred Flame is 60 feet.
Okay.
I'm going, let me see, is it an area of effect? It's a 1d8.
It's a single target.
It's a single target.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to aim it at the closest one.
Okay.
Because they're definitely hostile.
And Sacred Flame, I believe, is a saving throw on their part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to roll. What's my attack? My attack is, +2 proficiency bonus. There it is. Okay.
Sacred Flame, is that an attack from you, or is it a...
Well, it's something. Well, it's a dex, but I just crit. And I gotta roll a d8.
Yeah, they're supposed to succeed on a saving throw, essentially.
Yeah.
But kind of do a combination of the two this time.
They're at are they at disadvantage if I crit?
They were at disadvantage because they were surprised and the nature of their being. Mm-hmm. But they did fail on their dex save, so you do hit.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they have to get dex 13. That's right. All right, yes. So rolling d8. I rolled a 7. What do I add to that? Or is it just... No, it's just the d8. Okay.
Yes, because it's a cantrip.
Yep, that's 7.
7 damage. Awesome. All right. And as the one you hit gets hit, it basically turns around, and then the two next to it turn around as well. And you see, you've never seen undead, but these are very clearly undead.
Fun.
2 skeletal figures and one that seems to still have its flesh upon it.
Great.
And go ahead and roll initiative.
Mm-hmm. I get -1 on initiative. That sucks. So 16.
Oh, nice. Interesting. All right.
It would really suck if my character died before we even started the campaign.
We call this session 0 because that's how many hit points I had left.
Oh.
All right. So you have one skeleton moves before you. Mm-hmm. The zombie rolled a 16, but has a -2 to his dex. So he goes after you.
Yep.
And then, the other skeleton rolled a 2. So. And Sev is at 7. So, all right. So first round, as we jump into this, one of these skeletons kind of turns and has looked at his fellow undead get scorched in the back, and he looks at you, kind of looks back towards the copse of trees, and decides to go after you. Okay. And so you see him just turn and start working his way over towards you. He cannot make it to you this round in just a move action, so he basically spends his move action and his regular action to get up in your face. As far as skeletons go, I mean, he looks like a skeleton. He doesn't have weapons, doesn't have armor, anything like that.
Just a skeleton.
Just a skeleton. Then it comes around to you.
All right. Well, I am going to burn it and produce flame.
All right.
I'm gonna fireball it in the face.
All right. Well, he's going to make his dexterity saving throw. It's a whopping 12, so he fails.
15.
So you hit him. Well, you don't have to hit him. He has to save against it.
I don't. Oh, because he's right there. He's right in my face. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's how Sacred Flame works. Guiding Bolt, you have to roll to hit.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So I'm just gonna roll damage then.
Yeah, that's correct.
Aw, just 1 little point.
1 point. Wah, wah.
I know, right? I'm going to step back.
All right. To disengage with him would technically be your action.
Okay, never mind.
Which you already did, yeah. And yeah, currently I don't think you have a ton of bonus action or movement things you can do. Okay, I think that brings us comes around to the zombie, who also turns and kind of and starts lumbering towards you. And he has to spend his entire turn doing so. He gets close to you. He doesn't quite get in range of you.
Okay.
And then it brings us to Sev, who's kind of been peeking around this corner and looks, and he sees that you're in trouble. And he moves over a few headstones and kind of takes, before he even really gets a look at the shot, he pulls up his bow and he fires at the skeleton that's on you. And he rolled a 19.
Woohoo! Good job, Sev.
All right. And he does 6 points of damage, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So both skeletons have been hit for 7 points of damage now. And let's see his perception check. Yeah, he sees that's a skeleton. He kind of screams and moves back about another 10 feet.
Mm-hmm.
That brings us to the final skeleton that you scorched. Surprisingly enough, it kind of weirdly looks back at you and then just looks back towards the copse of trees and lumbers forward. Basically, like, had a wisdom check to see what he was going to attack, and he decided to continue forward, and it was awful. Rolled like a 2 on, like, what's the smart thing to fight right now? And so, bring us back to the top of the round. That does lead us to these... Yeah, it's the skeleton that attacked you originally. He comes at you, I would say snarling, but, lack of saliva. You see it... lets out a breath as it reaches out with its hand.
Phew. Ever heard of Mentos? Is the fresh maker.
It rolls a 10, so does not hit you. Reaches forward. So as the skeletal hand comes across your armor, it scrapes, kind of snags where there's a gap, and its nails dive into your skin a little bit, and then it continues scraping past.
Yuck. How much damage?
2 damage.
Oh, it's not so bad.
Then it's your turn.
All right. Well, I'm going to do... Well, I can't really inflict wounds on its skeleton, so I'm just going to try to burn it again.
Okay.
Or Guiding Bolt might be cool. Yeah, I'm going to do Guiding Bolt.
All right. Roll to hit.
And how many times can I cast that if it's prepared only once?
You can... I believe you can cast it up to 3 times, but... Okay. It'll take one of your slots each time, essentially.
Okay, gotcha. Does a 17 hit?
That definitely hits.
Cool. And I'm gotta do, 4d6. Oh my god, it's 4d6 damage.
5, Spellcasters are nice.
7, 15.
15 points of damage. Okay.
Yeah, that's more that's more than I have hit points.
Yeah, well, that's more than he has hit points, too. Yeah, that alone would have done it. So...
Jesus, I cannot believe I have that.
It's a nice spell. It's 3 attacks per day, and that's all your spells.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing about Guiding Bolt is that it grants advantage to the next person that attacks that target. So it's really nice if, like, you cast it and it hit, necessarily doesn't kill it. The next person trying to attack it automatically gets advantage. Right. So it's real nice. But you blew this thing apart, like...
Yeah, I probably didn't need to use that. That was OP.
But it worked.
Mm-hmm. Got him out of my face.
Yeah, you basically, like, reach out your hand and almost rather than shooting it at him, you reach in between his bone, like, into his chest cavity. And there's just this explosion of holy light. And it just shoots, like, its bone fragments shoot off in every direction. You can let out a war cry or something if you want. It seems... Zenko's a badass!
Shazam!
Well, that killed the only thing directly next to you, so you could move if you choose to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, let me see. How far away is the other guy?
The zombie's about 10 feet away from you.
I'm going to step back to gain ground.
Okay.
Just a couple steps back to prepare myself for the next guy.
All right.
You want some of this?
If you'd like, you could get some partial cover behind one of the headstones, and that'll give you a partial boost to your AC.
Mm-hmm. Great idea. I'm going to do that.
Okay. That does bring us to the zombie, who continues to chase you down. He does make it up to you. Takes a stab with. Unfortunately, he does roll a modified 14, and with your boosted AC, you're at a 12. So.
Yep. Damn.
So he does 3 damage.
Okay. Weak sauce, but still.
Yep.
Fuck that guy.
Unfortunately, Sev is terrified and does not do anything this round. Go, Zenko! You've got this! Skeleton shambles off a little bit out of view, just behind some trees. Then it comes around back to your turn, yes.
All right, so this zombie's in front of me. He has flesh, so I'm going to roll inflict wounds.
Okay.
Oh, I have to touch him. Touch. Holy shit, inflict wounds is 3d10.
He does not have resistance to necrotic damage, so it would work.
Cool. I'm going to do it.
Go for it.
Maybe.
You gotta touch him.
I gotta touch him. Well, it's not a crit, but it's a modified 23.
You just missed. He all of a sudden, his lungs just manage to patch themselves together, and he inhales and sucks in his gut, and your fist just swings through like a cartoon. No, you definitely hit. Roll that damage.
I'm rolling that damage. 3d10.
Yep.
That's wild. No, it was 24 damage.
Oh, okay. 24. That's so much better.
I reach out and go, boop.
You just boop him.
Yup.
Technically, he does get a saving throw on this being a zombie, and even rolling a 19 does not succeed as you boop him. Would you like to describe what happens to the zombie as you inflict wounds on him drastically?
He's essentially eviscerated by air. It just kind of falls apart.
Just kind of... You boop him on the nose, and then it's just like a million wind blades just tear across his flesh.
Pretty much.
He just and falls to the ground.
Yep.
Awesome. So, yeah, he falls into a meaty mush. Probably looks something like the dinner that your mom packed you. Yeah,
suddenly no longer hungry.
So, yeah, that leaves, I guess, the skeleton that ran off into the woods a little bit, or I guess the little copse of trees.
Mm-hmm. How far away is he?
Probably about 70 feet away.
Damn.
If you could essentially... You could double move and definitely get in sight of where he is.
Guiding bolt range is also 120 feet.
He's not really visible at the moment. That's why you would at least have to move forward to try and get a visual on him.
Okay, so I remember that there's another skeleton and he's damaged a little, and I don't want him to cause any more trouble. So I'm gonna start running forward.
Okay.
In that direction.
As you approach, you start to hear the little bit of those shrill screams a little bit again. You kind of lost it when you were in the middle of a fight, but you run forward and you see this skeleton trying to grab towards a rather large... I mean, as far as spiders go, this thing's humongous. But it looks to be about middle of your shin.
Why does it gotta be spiders?
And but the skeleton's definitely reaching down trying to grab at the spider. Give me a perception check.
Okay. I'm just laughing at this stupid skeleton. Oh, and stupid Zenko. I rolled a modified 5.
All right. So yeah, you currently see the skeleton grabbing down towards the spider, and it's definitely rearing back its head, trying to keep it at bay. It's going to make an attack. That does hit the spider for 1 point of damage. As the skeleton sweeps its hand down again, you see it kind of grab onto one of the legs, and you hear this kind of snap.
Oh.
As it breaks one of the limbs. Not off, but just kind of you definitely hear a crack. And then the spider retaliates. Actually manages to kind of take a decent chunk out of the skeleton's leg.
Nice.
So to speak, and kind of bends it sideways. And then it comes around to your turn.
All right, well, I'm feeling pretty bad for the spider. I'm gonna attack the skeleton again with this skeleton with guiding bolt.
All right. I would say it is distracted currently, so you would get advantage.
Okay. Oh, thank the gods I got advantage. Because the first one was a 1, but this wasn't much better. I rolled a modified 9.
Don't believe... No, that will not hit it currently.
Yeah.
It's your spell. Your bolt shoots past it and just kind of strikes the stonework. As kind of the area becomes a little bit more illuminated from your bolt. And kind of this weird radiant energy kind of hovers over everything. You look and you see 5 other dead spider corpses.
Oh, damn.
1 large, 3 of them very, very tiny. I mean, comparatively. Like, you see 3 that are about the size of, like, your foot. 1 that's comes up to about mid-thigh. And then you see the one that's currently still alive.
Oh, wow.
They both kind of sit there and keep swinging. They both kind of look at you real quick when the guiding bolt goes off. And the skeleton just kind of returns back to going after the spider. And the spider is just trying to be defensive, keeping it at bay. Comes back around to your turn.
All right. Well, I'm just going to... Because how far is he from me right now?
He's only about 20 feet.
All right. Let's see. I guess I could do... I'll hit him again with a sacred flame.
Okay.
That seemed to work before.
All right, so he makes a saving throw. Does not succeed with a 12.
Nice.
So roll your damage.
Rolling my d8. 5.
5 damage. Spider. Yeah. No, that skeleton is kind of clip it in the upper portion of its leg falls down, and as its torso hits the ground, its head falls off, and it just returns to a lifeless body.
So he's re-dead.
Yes. Take 2 on being dead.
Undead to done dead.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it appears all of the undead have been killed.
Cool.
You know, as it were.
Yeah. Killed for good.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything you would like to do?
Well, I'd like to go see how that spider's doing.
All right. As you begin to approach it, it starts to back away from you. And you can clearly see that 2 of its limbs are definitely broken.
Shoot, did I already use all 3 of my spell slots?
You did 2 guiding bolts.
Okay. Oh, I did inflict wounds too. Does that not cost slots?
Oh, yeah. No, that does. Sorry. You're right. You did use all 3.
Damn it. So I can't heal the poor guy.
Not through spells, no.
Yeah, but I've got, like, I've got salves and stuff.
And animal handling and medicine.
Yeah. So I'm going to softly reassure him it's okay, and take out my healing stuffs to tend to those legs.
Give me a handle animal check. Or animal handling.
Aw. And that's, what's my modifier for that?
I believe that's wisdom.
Okay.
It might be charisma.
Because let's see.
But you're proficient, so 2 plus...
Oh, my medicine, so 5.
That's your animal handling.
Oh, my animal handling is plus 5, so I rolled a 12, modified 12.
12. You managed to get it to allow you to approach it, maybe not necessarily touch it right now, but it's letting you be nearby. If there's maybe something else you'd like to try.
What can I try? Well, I can't talk to it because I used that spell. I can just try again. Do another animal handling. Because sometimes it takes some coaxing.
True. I mean, are you trying to do anything different, per se, or just continue to try?
I'm going to crouch down a little.
Okay.
And show that I'm not just basically gesturing that I don't mean harm. I mean to help.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll.
That's a little better. A modified 14.
Okay. It seems to realize that you're not trying to attack it. It's similar to like when you're trying to pet a cat and it's still hissing at you, but it's letting you pet it almost. Like it will let you touch it.
Okay, so I'm going to take care of those 2 legs. Do whatever you can, do whatever the spider equivalent of a splint is.
Right. Go ahead and give me a medicine check.
9.
9.
Modified 9. I'm sucking now.
Combat. You were all about it. You managed to get kind of a basic splint on its legs. And then your hand, as you're kind of tightening the splint, you realize you go a little bit too far. And it kind of creaks, and there's a there's a shrill of pain, and it kind of makes a half-hearted jab at your hand.
Aw.
And scurries back away from you.
I sigh, get up, and head back towards Sev.
Okay. Sev, as you come walking out of the graveyard, or out of the cops back towards the graveyard, you see him. He's just holding his bow and arrow, and you can see like a shake to it a little bit. And he sees it's you, and he's kind of puts it down, and he lifts his body up, and you're not undead, right? You're not controlled?
No.
Is that you, Zenko?
Yes, it's me. Let's get that moss, shall we? And get you back home.
Next time, come in here with like 20 people.
That's a good idea. And we need to find out why the undead are here.
And yeah, you go to one of the gravestones and you show Sev how to collect it into a vial for transportation. And, a handful of it, which you can gather off of 1 or 2 headstones, should last Dana for the month. So
nice.
That was weird. Thanks for coming, Zenko.
Of course. You might want to bring someone with you next time.
Oh, you better both fucking leave it. That was weird.
Let's head back.
Yes, please. Oh, wait. I gotta go grab D for dinner. He goes and he picks up the bird that he shot before, and you can still see he's shaken, but he's still trying to put on a brave face and just kind of carrying this bird back and like...
Oh, by the way, nice shot.
Yeah, you too. Several times. And way to turn it into a pile of goo. That was cool. A little weird, but cool. Sucks you're leaving.
Don't worry, I won't be gone long.
Okay, that's good. Your mom can do that kind of crap too, right?
Oh yeah, she taught me.
Oh, good. Okay, never mind. You go as much as you want.
Oh, this kid's funny.
So, y'all make your way back towards Inthra. Kind of gives you a farewell hug. Thanks for all your help, Zenko. I hope your trip goes well. And Dana says thanks too.
Of course. Give my love to your family. Now, question.
Sure.
For knowledge's sake, is that a common thing to see undead in that area?
No.
That's what I thought.
But it's not, I guess, I'm trying to think of the best way to put it. I guess undead in that capacity is definitely very weird. Like, them just kind of rising up out of nowhere or coming from nowhere with nobody controlling them or, like, not a swarm of them, but, like, it was just a few undead that just kind of seemed to be wandering around. Like, that's weird, but not overly threatening.
Okay, so nothing I would need to alert authorities over?
You probably want to tell the townspeople.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
There's a place I could go to speak to someone who would spread the word?
Yeah, you assume Sev's going to, too.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, you can go to essentially their equivalent of like a town mayor.
Okay,
and
yeah.
if you'd like to tell them about it.
Of course. Well, of course Sev's going to talk about it, but,
Yeah.
before everyone hears from a 16-year-old.
Right.
Why did she just fucking leave without saying anything?
True.
So, all right, so I'm going to go to the mayor and let him know.
Okay.
Maybe we should have some guard up there.
Yeah, let's patrol on that side of the river more than the other side. And yeah, you approach the mayor's house. The mayor's name is Bernard. And again, it's a pretty small town. You can just go up and knock on his door, really.
Awesome. So I do. And knock on his door.
Yeah. His wife answers the door. Oh, Zenko. It's good to see you, dear. I thought you would have left by now.
Well, there was a mild delay. The Basins asked me a favor, but something has transpired, and I need to speak to you and your husband.
Oh, very well. Yes. Bernard, honey, put the ale down, and I shall bring us some tea. Zenko's come to visit. The ale thing's a joke, but his mid-afternoon ale.
Right.
Being a mayor's tough. she, tells somebody in the kitchen to come bring him some tea. And right this way, dear, right this way. You've been to Bernard's office before. He just seems to be mulling over paperwork and doesn't seem overly stressed or anything. Oh, Zenko, good to see you.
You as well, Mr. Bernard. I'm on my way out for my trials, as you know. I was assisting the Basins in teaching their son how to gather the moss used for their daughter. Unfortunately, we came across 3 undead, and I just would like to let you know. Maybe we need to set up more patrols over in that area.
Quite unsettling.
It was strange. They were attacking the spiders.
That's bizarre. Didn't know of any spiders that an undead might be concerned with. I didn't know they were undead. Yes, of course. We shall alert the guard. Keep closer eye, and thank you for taking that Sev boy down there. The Basins are surely grateful to not have lost their son in such a foolish excursion by himself.
Of course. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to give such grave news upon my departure.
Our situation sucks, but that was funny.
All right, so she takes her leave. I take my leave and head off.
And your cup of tea grows cold on their table.
Oh, I drank the tea.
I'm just kidding. All right, so yeah, you can basically just probably easiest to follow the Burning Rush south. There's no real cities or towns beyond this to the south until you reach Southgate, which is literally a southern gate to the country. And yeah, I'm not going to make you roll like random encounters along the river or anything. It's relatively safe. You're traveling the road.
Right. On the road again.
For the first time, but on the road again. As you get closer within to a day's reach of Southgate, you do see the Barrier Mountains just kind of starting to rise out of the distance. And you continue to approach, and the road very clearly takes you to Southgate, where you could probably expect, customs and a few questions, that sort of thing. But yeah, as you approach, there's Southgate. There, you do see the occasional boat kind of travel past you. Most of them seem to be carrying goods. Occasionally they wave. They might chit chat with you for a little bit or something.
So none of these people think anything of my character's race.
In the entirety of the country,
yeah. They're used to it.
Orcs and dwarves are the predominant race. The fact that you're half dragonborn is weird.
Right.
But not enough for them to, want to just rise up against you and attack you. These are merchants and traders and stuff. These are not military people. And
this town I was in was humans.
Predominantly.
Okay.
It was a predominantly mix of human and then some gnomes. There were a few orcs, full-blood orcs, a few half-orcs, that sort of thing. The tribe you're from was much more tribal. They lived off more in nature.
Yep.
So they had a xenophobic belief outside of their own capacity. This is, however, a main thoroughfare of trade. People tend to expect a little bit more variety.
Cool.
Yeah, as you're traveling down, you do approach Southgate, and it's a decently steep rise up. They do have a kind of a gated waterway. It's currently open. But there you do see ships that are kind of being stopped, checked, and then allowed passage. There's a few people with carts. See, probably only 2 carts and probably about 10 travelers going through Southgate currently. It's kind of like a border crossing just to make sure nothing weird's going on. As you approach, you do get stopped by a guard. Halt! What is your name and purpose?
I am Zenko, and my purpose is to carry on the trials of the shaman.
Okay. I don't know about anything about any shamans, but
I seek a shrine.
Pilgrimage.
Yes.
Gotcha. Don't know why you wouldn't just take a boat or a cart or a horse or anyway, no, that's neither here nor there. Yes, your religious types do come through.
I personally just like to use my legs. Winks.
Oh my. He seems to just kind of shrug it off. I rolled for how he would react, but
Mental constitution.
Yeah, just kind of an insight into, like, does she want this? Do I want this? Like,
she's just joking.
Yeah, he just kind of looks and of course. Yes, just need to look through your things real quick. Nothing too invasive.
Of course, here you go.
He just kind of looks and, picks through your stuff. It looks like a standard pack, like you're not, I don't know, it doesn't look like you're going to try and set up a chain across the river and, like, dismantle the boats or anything, or carrying a bundle of weapons, very obviously. Like, seem to be another traveler. He's, all right, very well. Go on through, Zazalu.
She chuckles and heads on through.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of dozens of people he's going to do this to today, so he's not going to bother to remember your name. It's just...
Zazalu.
As you pass through the Southern Barrier Mountains, you can notice kind of at the edge of your field of view, the terrain on this side does seem to be less rocky and barren than from the side you just came from. Mm-hmm. You can kind of start to see, like, kind of lush greenery off in the distance, but it does appear to be a fair ways off. Take another day's rest, and then...
long rest.
Yep.
Yay! Spell slots are empty. HP is full. Cool.
See, it's nice. As you kind of continue traveling down the road, it starts to get a little bit more cluttered with carts to and from. Mm-hmm. And then as you kind of get closer and closer to this green off in the distance, and the landscape starts to change, and it's not kind of that burnt orange you're used to seeing on most of your, throughout most of the regions It looks to be just fields of grass, and the tree growth is much more than you're used to. And then as you kind of get to about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you look off in the distance and you see a giant wooden town along the river.
Is it called Nottingham Village?
No, it is. You assume this to be Tristalin.
Oh, okay. Tristalin, the wood village.
It's, as you kind of travel on towards night, and it gets to be about 8 or 9 in the evening, and lights start to come on. It almost seems like a hazard, like with how many lights are going on in the city, but it is, as you get closer, the entire town is elevated above the river. Mm-hmm. So, like, approaching ships actually go underneath the city. And from what your mother told you, this is where 3 different rivers meet. Mm-hmm. And as you kind of approach, you see a giant ramp leading up from the ground up onto the city proper.
Okay.
And as you make your way to the gates, the few more guards, dwarf and an orc, sitting there. What's your name and purpose for being in Tristalin this day?
Zenko, and I am on pilgrimage.
I mean, all right. I guess you just want lodging. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, that too.
It doesn't look like she has anything dangerous on her. Have you met my fists?
Have you met my grin?
And as you step onto the city proper, it's a lot. Like, you could see that the city was kind of weird, that it's literally elevated above the river and entirely constructed out of wood. As you get up onto the city proper, it kind of blows your mind how well planned this city was.
Wow, my mind is blown.
All right, Nathan.
It's his fault. I learned it from listening to him.
But this city clearly has several thousand people living in it, and they're all living on this upper platform. So the planning of that must have been insane in your mind. Mm-hmm. But as you look around, you're coming up, it's nightfall. It's nothing crazy. You see, you can hear raucous laughter, probably from a tavern. A lot of the storefronts seem to be closed, but the people probably live there, have lamps on in the upstairs. And welcome to Tristalin. And I believe that's where we're going to leave it off for tonight.
Have you ever wondered what two Aussie dads
Really inappropriate ones.
would tell you if you asked them questions like,
What if my kids catch me having special cuddles?
"Ugh, awkward turtle"?
Or is it okay to hide in the toilet and play games on my phone?
Well, it better be.
Maybe you want to hear our unique reviews of movies, beers, video games, etc.
How about some cheeseburger spring rolls?
Sure. If some or any of that tickles your fancy, then check out the Dad Zone on the Forge Audio Network.
What do you do?
Forge Audio.
Dream it.
Build it.
Share it.